we are in this together.
You have gifts that I don't have, and I have gifts that you don't have.
That we must see. Now is the time, because it's when we all get together that we will make the changes that we must make. We are the world.
Welcome to Malcolm and We, a new streaming portal leading into the new world. And basically, we are now in partnership with We the World, a unique organization that more or less, will you explain what it is, Yana? And then introduce our guest.
Okay. Well, We the World is fabulous, and we are celebrating our 25th year this year. So you'll have to come to the celebrations. There'll be more about that on social media. But we are a nonprofit organization that helps other nonprofit organizations, because the idea is that with everybody doing wonderful work, we have to all work together to create a big wave of social movement, a big we wave. That's what I like to call it. And Karen is a friend of mine, although I did have to look up to find out more about her, because what I would say about Karen is that, well, she's always smiling and she's always laughing and she always makes you feel good and you just like to be with her. But I do have some more formal introduction for her. She is a family coach, author, and speaker who holds a bachelor's degree in sociology from Loyola Marymount University. She's a passionate mother, teacher, mentor, coach, and healing arts practitioner. And she works to offer opportunities for people to connect to their true selves and to strengthen their relationships. She utilizes her intuitive abilities and to various modalities to assist families to transcend depression, addiction, anger, and fear, as well as to facilitate open heart communication. And she has a business called Surfing Your Soul Family Services, and she focused primarily on the heart and the soul of individuals. So I know right before we got on, she knew she wanted to talk about the heart work that she does. So welcome, Karen. And where are you joining us from today? Santa Fe, California?
That's always after my youngest son went to college and I was no longer married to their dad. So I was like, all right, I'm going to travel this world. So the big joke, like my mom always says, "Where's Waldo?" books that we used to have. Where in the world is Karen? I happen to be in my sweet, sweet home in Jemez Springs, New Mexico. And it's a very tiny home and sits on the edge of the cliff. You're invited to come if you want a writer's retreat. There's a sweet little writer's office. It's beautiful.
So how nice.
You have a place
that reminds me of a show that might.
So you're this is it right here. There's the bedroom right there. Queen size bed. That's it. Kitchen right over here. And then there's a separate little office though. You walk outside, walk up, it's about 250 square feet, has a loft bed, a writer's desk. So I share it a lot because I'm traveling the world working with families, and it's such a sacred space that I like people to be nourished. When I was 13, I knew that I was here to be a catalyst to nourishing children so that every child is nourished physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. And then that's how I got into teaching preschool, family coaching. So that's my passion.
I was a preschool teacher too. I love working with kids. I absolutely
doesn't surprise
adore
me,
it.
our connection.
I hate to say this. I was for a while the substitute teacher in the New York City public school system, teaching elementary school. And I hated
How'd you do with that?
Scared me.
Did? Oh, I love kids. I can always. They can be a tough audience, but I just never had a hard time.
It was hard to teach 30 disruptive. It was hard to it was hard to teach 30 disruptive kids.
And they have they have a plan to like gang up on the substitute teachers.
Right. and I used to have a full beard with long hair. So anytime I came in, they said the Wolfman is returned.
Oh my! I would love to teach pictures of that.
But anyway, Karen, tell us what you're doing with We the World and what your objective is.
Well,
Well, she's not really working so much with We the World. I'm trying to get her to be a partner,
so
but
yes, and right, because what I love about Janet and I connected through this place called The Hub, Here You Belong. It's a help desk when we have these events that Unity Earth, Compassion Games, Joy Fuel, they're supporting these online events throughout the year. And what's been so beautiful is when I caught wind of it through some good friends of mine, I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. So when you spoke about we, and I'm always also about, like, we know we have the resources, right, to feed everyone on this planet and to give them clean water. We have the resources. So I remember a long time ago thinking, how do we let people do their individual thing, yet also come together? So we bring all the people that are working on hunger, and scarcity where there is that, and bring them together. So that's where I'm connected in more. So as a family coach, this is the easiest way for me to say what I like to do. I was fortunate growing up. We had a lot of celebrations and put on a lot of parties. And I like to put a big buffet out and let people come try new things and then go to what resonates with them. So that's how I am with resources. I work with a lot of families to help through addiction, communication, and then I'm like that consultant more, and then they want resources of how to get involved. How do I do what I want to do? Or if somebody has a passion, I can say, oh, why don't you check out the conversation? They're doing food healers, So that's how and I will be, doing more with we as I'm, understanding it more.
good. Well, we can use you. And that's exactly how I look at it too. And it's helping people in the way they want to be helped, not helping them in the way that someone thinks they should be helped, but what are those ways? What's their belief system? What would help them feel better about them and make sense to them?
Right. So for me, my business is called Surf in Your Soul. And I grew up in a Catholic environment, homeschooling all my life. And I was always in trouble as a child because I had my hand up. I'm like, wait, are you sure that's what I questioned? But then I got in so much trouble, I ended up just going silent. And so what developed from that is people just didn't know how to nourish my soul. They didn't understand what I just could channel people who had passed on. I was taught, at 7, 8, 9 years old, and people didn't know what to do with this. So
well, and you couldn't talk about it because who would believe you?
Or you get in trouble, but that was great because it added to my development. And it's what you're saying. It's like, I'm here to be a support for people, to especially parents, because children know who they are. You've worked with preschoolers, like little children know who they are when they come in this world. So how do we foster that? And as a parent, if you have 3 or 4 children, can you be willing to raise them differently? Because they're all different. And
to be the people that they're supposed to be.
That's sort of hard.
It's that's probably why my husband and I didn't stay married. We couldn't agree on anything. I'm like, let them be, let this one do this, let that one do that.
That's how I was too.
Well, basically, I have your business is connecting people to other people or to groups that are that they're seeking.
I'll say twofold. That's a second part of it. And the primary part of it, so what I've distilled down for this year is everything that's been happening in these last few years. Why are we still having war? Why is there still disconnection? Aside from being humans, but we can be so much better than that. So what can I do? I'm really good at being in the heart space. I grew up in a very safe, unconditionally loving home. I share my home all the time. I foster that. So loving, unconditional love and safety, I'm great at. So I had found this heart thread technique through Aivia Magdalena several years ago, 12 or so. And I do these heart thread sessions with people, and people will say, wow, I've been going to therapy for 3 years and you just cleared out in an hour what I've been working on. So my thing is connecting the heart. I show people how they can connect to their own heart. And when we are coming from our heart and being authentic, then it's fine. Whatever happens is okay. And so that's my first thing, connect in the heart, because if we can connect in the heart and then we're connected in our gut, heart, mind, and that's how we're speaking and acting from, that's when we surf in our soul. We live our passions. We have the courage to follow our passions. So that's the first and foremost, and then connecting people with the resources that benefit them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And how long have you been doing this?
So, well, it's interesting. The heart thread work I've been doing for 12 years. As soon as I trained in it, I knew it was for me. I felt like I'd already been doing it, and I started training practitioners. They didn't have practice. It was one person training. And I said, the moment you start letting other people train, I want to be there. So I've done that for 12 years. But I joke, I joke I live in this small town, and there's this guy, he started a newspaper here because the other one had closed down. And he looked at me, he's like 60 or something. He's like, I'm doing the same thing I did when I was a kid, delivering newspapers, and I paused for a moment. I was like, so am I. When I was 10, I started babysitting. And from 16 to 22, it's how I made all my money. People put me in their homes, trusted me with their children. And I was like, I'm doing the same thing I did as a child. But I mean, that does speak to something, right? Like we're following our natural gifts and our passions. So while I started being a mom when I was 21. And I ran a home daycare for 6 years. And I started in formal early childhood, aside from the babysitting, when I was 18, like working in preschools. So that whole time I had a lot of years in early childhood as consultant, director, teacher. And then I spent about 6 years in retail as a general manager for a gift basket company and a candy company. And then also juggling these children and letting them be who they are. And, my youngest is turning 26 in a couple weeks, and my oldest is 34. So then the other's 33 and 28, all boys.
So you have a son who works with you. Which one is that?
Well, it's, Patrick, he was a Broadway bound kid. He went to school in New York, great performer, singer, dancer, tapping, I don't know how many nationwide tours, which was a lot of fun. And then in 2020, when Broadway shut down, he had also been teaching yoga and meditation. His name's Patrick Heffernan, and he just got into wellness. So he is now a wellness coach. And I love to laugh. I took them however many years ago to James Twyman, who wrote Conversations with God. That guy, Neil Donald Walsh. Up in Ashland, Oregon, there was a psychic children's retreat. And I went there, and they were like, what are you taking us to? And he hated it. He's like, Mom, I'm sitting by the pool. People are asking me about energy. What's energy? And now it's his whole world. He just got back from a month in India at an eco village, and he plays the harmonium. He's an amazing coach. So we do some things together. And I'm just really
We'll have to have him on.
Yeah, he's very interested in that. And he was still in India when I had mentioned that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I liked it that it came full circle in a way. All this weird stuff I was doing. I had trained with Doreen Virtue. I trained with Eric Pearl for reconnective healing. And it was so out of, like, bless my husband's heart, it was just so out of his wheelhouse. He didn't know what to do with it all,
So what did he do, your ex-husband?
He was on like restaurant management and yeah.
But just a bit different from what you are.
A little different. I mean, we'd be at a party and he's like, I look over and you're talking to someone and they're crying. How come you always make people cry? And I was like, I'm just listening to them. And
yeah, I know. I was always that way too. People telling me their whole life stories and,
Actually, I find out, you were talking about, he was a restaurant management. I find out one of the happiest people that I've ever worked with are restaurant chefs that own their own restaurant.
That own their own.
But it's so high pressure and so much work.
Yeah, but for a while I was selling advertising time and a lot for an upscale radio station, and a lot of my clients were the restaurateurs, and I used to visit them in the morning when they were preparing the meals, and they were so happy. The chef owners, they were so happy, and they loved what they were doing, and they would they would prepare something and say, hey, take a taste of this, what do you think? And they were very much concerned.
Yeah.
When you work in a restaurant like that, it's super fun, because I did that in Boulder.
But it reminds me
And
of what you're talking about. You have your heart into something.
You have, and that's the
exactly.
thing, like when we're following our heart, I mean, it was so great. Someone challenged me. I've been staying with my parents. They're 92. I have 5 siblings that live near them, but I'll fly home and I can stay there for, a few months, these last 2 years. And it's great. And I went to pick up some food at this Mexican restaurant and I decided to have a margarita and start talking to this guy. And we got on this conversation right away. I usually, my boys will say, like, they would invite their friends over and they'd be like, oh, we're so sorry. My mom is incapable of small talk, Go right to the heart of the matter. And so this gentleman, we were talking about following your passion, and he had children, and and then he just said, do you think it's easier for you to do that and say that, to say it and to do that because you grew up like with affluence, with money, with like privilege? And I said, maybe. And we see examples of it all the time.
Exactly.
That corporate job, they start doing what they love, something else comes in, and all of a sudden, money follows, or resources in whatever form follow.
Well, except for being poor as dirt, I'm pretty happy because I get to work with, and meet people that I like being with and working with and feeling like I can do something. So, that's important to me.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah, well,
Not the poor part.
I found out when I graduated college in the late 60s, early 70s, and in New York, being Jewish, it was a natural thing to do after college to go to graduate school. My graduate school was psychotherapy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I went to therapy. That was sort of standard. But I figured the more you knew about yourself, the more you were able to accomplish.
And did you learn anything?
No, what I learned after going through individual therapy, I went to group therapy. And the group therapy taught me that it's better to give to somebody else than to seek for yourself. That's what you're talking about, is giving people the opportunity, or getting people feel connected to each other.
Right.
And that you're connected.
But you also have to take care of yourself though, too.
Well, so that's the thing, that you've got to be, because we get like, it's selfish to think of yourself first. I think that got really out of line, or be polite and think. It's like, first, we have to put ourselves first and foremost, connect to our heart. And then, yes, that service to others is so important. But I think what you just said is, I used to say, like, if everyone would do these, whatever personality test resonates with you, like human design, Myers-Briggs, colors, when I'd like to sit down with families and everyone takes this personality test. And when you start to really understand that, wow, they really don't process this the same way I do. Like, it's very black and white for me, but for this person, they can see 1,000 options. So they have to go through all of that. When we understand ourselves, and then we understand how other people naturally operate, then we cultivate compassion and patience. And I'm saying this to you, not because I did this when I was 22 and had my first child, 23 with the second, because I made these mistakes, yet I'm like, wait, there's something more. We can be getting along more. We could be learning in our classrooms better than we are, So,
well, yeah, and that came from your experience of being a child and knowing that, boy, I got to be quiet here because no one's going to understand. And that's what I learned through my therapy too, is that I could trust my own intuitions. That if I really felt something, there's probably something there. And, maybe not everybody felt it or saw it, but I did. And so that was something to pay attention to.
Karen, sorry to cut you off, Yana. How do you disseminate this information? I mean, do you give groups? Do you have books? Is it one-on-one? Do you give one-on-one sessions, or do you have group sessions?
That's been my challenge, for myself. Even though I came from a business family and I have a business background, I'm also trying to do things differently. So this is great. Like, I'm loving that I'm here right now, and I'm really good at conversations. I'm really good at giving away free sessions. It's a little trickier for me to charge. So I'm here to shift all these paradigms of, marketing and this and that. So one thing I'm doing this year like it or not, with social media, I've committed to a solid year of Instagramming my journey. I'm having this heart to home, surfing your soul, heart to home 2023 journey. And I'm Instagramming it across everywhere I'm traveling. I am doing a lot of just these types of, I interview people, I call it my inner views, surfing your soul inner, INNER view. And I do this catch the reading wave. I'm restarting that up where I interview authors of books. So social media, I haven't been doing a lot of advertising lately, but I do need to find a couple niches so that, yeah, how do people find me? My latest client is a friend who's trusted me for a few years and finally said, our family needs some assistance. Could you come and help us out? And then we're meeting on Zoom right now because they live in 3 different states. So word of mouth. And really, that's been it, word of mouth.
In fact, what you started inspiring me for thought, because I believe in what you're doing. I'm a believer in delving into going deep into yourself and departing to other people. I guess back in the 60s and 70s, I was very much into this whole mysticism, this movement with
Yes.
I myself meditate, transcendental meditation. So I go Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And in fact, as I say, I used to have a full beard, long hair, and wore the Nehru jacket. So it was Maharishi Mahesh Malcolm.
I was so blessed to, I was ordained in TM by Paul Mueller Ortega. I'm not sure if you know him. He lived with Maharishi and studied with him. And
I went with Paul McCartney. No, I'm kidding.
You were there with the Beatles. Paul was there with the Beatles. But what happened, because of TM, which I think is hilarious, trademarking and such, he actually wasn't legally allowed in the States to teach it anymore because the center, and that's what I want to just get rid of that stuff,
Yeah.
So fascinating. I mean, now I'm going to have to see if I can invite myself back on because we switched days.
Yes.
I have a commitment in 2 minutes and I can see this person calling me being like, I can't get on my Zoom room and I need your help. I love this. I wish I didn't have, no, I shouldn't say that. I'm excited that I have been invited to be a guest teacher on this next, there's the woman that my son Patrick is studying with and trained with, her name is Kate Stillman. And she's phenomenal. And she took the Ayurvedic principles and got them down to 10 simple habits and really made it palatable. And so my son is studying with her and she has coaches that she's trained all over the world, really. So that's what I'm doing. One of these coaches, they run these year-long programs. She's traveling in New Zealand and she's like, hey, would you run my course this week? So so that's what I'm hopping on to.
What I can see
I'll get you involved with everything that I can, and so will Malcolm and your son and all those people.
What I see, Karen, again, I'm also very marketing minded. I've been in media for the last 50 years.
I'd like help there.
Yeah, I was thinking, and to me right now, the amazing thing is what we're doing on Zoom.
Yes,
and almost everybody can Zoom, and it's love to be able to talk to you to see if we could work out some sort of program where we can make it again. A big thing for me is commercial to make it commercially advantageous because again, we like to help people, but we all have to live.
Yes,
but good commercial.
And thank you. Aligned, as long as it's
aligned.
The good show.
Aligned, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched some of your episodes too, and I was like, okay, this is great. But I'm always in the place that I don't necessarily agree with. I'll always put myself in those uncomfortable positions because I feel safe in my heart. And if we can't be here together as humans and celebrate our diversity and have conversations with each other, in things we disagree with, what's the point? And that's what we're being.
If you look at some of my past shows, which I get involved a lot with politics, and there's a friend of mine, Deborah Manning. We had a show, Conversations with Deborah. I don't know if you've listened to that show.
Yes.
And she is totally opposite from me politically. I mean, when we were doing the show, she was very much pro-Trump.
Yeah. But you get together and talk.
But we don't fight. We talk about issues. It's not because you are so and because you're pro this or anti that you're bad. You have different thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Well, I'm here to
Share them
cultivate
with
more
me.
of that, to be honest. And then I'm gonna be like, okay, I gotta jump off. It's 28 after and I gotta be
Right,
on in
yeah.
2 minutes.
Oh,
So,
he said he would watch the time.
No,
I
we
am
are.
sorry.
We have 40 seconds left.
okay, 40 seconds.
Tell us how we can get in touch with you.
You
Or
can
our
get in
audience.
touch with me a few ways. My website is Surf in Your Soul. There's no G.
SURF.
INYOUR soul and also my email is at Gmail. So that's my website, and then at Gmail, and on there is my phone number. You can call, text 24/7. If I'm meant to hear your call and I'm sound asleep, I'll wake up, and if not, I'll return when I get the message.
Well, I know one thing definitely. We are going to get together outside of the Zoom and plan something, because to me right now, the Zoom is the best way of communication, because people, people
connect
throughout
us.
the world can get access to it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And
Okay,
you can, okay.
to be
Peace be with
continued.
you. In fact,
Thanks,
if you
Malcolm.
hear the
Thanks,
little sound,
Jenna.
25 minutes are up. Your time is up. Have a great day. Fantastic meeting you.
Thanks.
And we've been on Malcolm and we on malcolmpresents.com. And if you want to question me or anything, it's malcolmpresents@gmail.com. So email me, and bye-bye. Have a great day.
The objective of the organization We the World is to facilitate cooperation on a global scale amongst groups and individuals dedicated to implementing solutions to the many challenges we face on the planet at this time.